Hey gamers, Maniac here with the lovely Princess Angel. And tonight we went to go see the premiere of Pokemon I Choose You, which was a special Fathom event in the United States. This is the first Pokemon movie that has been shown in United States theaters since probably Pokemon Forever, the Celebi movie, the fourth Pokemon movie. All the others that I've seen, at least in the past couple of years, have all been direct to television and direct to DVD, basically. But tonight was the first that has been shown in at least probably 15 or so years, as far as I remember. It was a huge event. There was a lot of stuff that we got to talk about, a lot of stuff about the experience going to see it, and some controversies. And then finally, we'll talk about what was going on with the picture, what we thought of the picture itself. So first off, I'll let Princess Angel say, what did you think of the experience watching it?
Spoiler free, I thought it was an okay experience, but I personally think I was planning for a better movie.
So you were happy with the experience, but the movie itself, you weren't as happy about
Yeah,
it.
no, I wasn't happy about it.
All right, we'll talk more about this in just a second. Let me just kind of fast forward, like I said, because I kind of want to have this review talk not just about the film, because we're definitely gonna talk about the film, no question about it. We have a lot to say about the film, but I wanted to talk about, for people that bought a ticket specifically, what did you get for your ticket, and what happened for the people who bought tickets to go see it specifically on the Fathom Events screen. First off, I want to give props to Fathom Events for even hosting this film in the first place, so thanks there. I also want to specifically mention that this was only a 2-night event, and it was shown during a matinee on Sunday, which was yesterday, and the second and final showing was a Monday night showing tonight. And that was it. It's not going to be shown in theaters again, at least not anytime soon. And Fathom Events has it off its schedule now. So if you didn't see it tonight, I'm really sorry, but that's just the way it goes. But we're going to be speaking specifically about that version of the film that we saw. In case it ever goes to DVD or Blu-ray or gets shown on television, you might have a slightly different experience than us. Anybody that went, anybody that paid for a ticket, got this this specific Pokemon. This is the Pikachu, Ash's Pikachu specifically. Really excited about it. It is watermarked. This is exclusive for this. And they got an exclusive code for special Pikachu for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon when that comes out in about 2 weeks from now. Or about a week, about 11 days from now. So just about short of 2 weeks. Those codes will be valid probably when the game comes out. So that is part of the experience. And let me tell you something. This is really cool. I've been getting Pokemon TCG promo cards for at least 2 years now. And this is the first time I've actually seen a promo card specifically with specific print on it. And look at this. Look at these stats for Ash, for the Pikachu. Hold on. I mean, just look at those stats. I mean, I haven't seen a Pikachu card like this with these statistics. So that's really interesting, I thought. Secondly, obviously, I'm always going to say good for a card, but I haven't seen this artwork anywhere else, and I haven't seen. It's not a foil card, but it is watermarked, so you're going to know specifically what it is or where it came from. So that's really cool. But most of the other promotion cards I've seen were usually either reprintings in foil or some type of slight variant in some way. But usually the statistics would match up with a card that was already existing. So this was a nice treat to have its own specific moves. Props there. Do you want to talk about the pre-show before we start talking about the movie?
The pre-show was about a half hour long, and I mean, a lot of the stuff they showed at the pre-show we've seen before. You know, it's available readily online.
Yes.
So it's not anything you wouldn't have necessarily not seen before, other than maybe like the little
They Gotta Catch 'Em All music video.
No, not even that. Like just like the little Pokemon in between.
Oh, you're talking about the little variant.
Just being like the filler in between.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the pre-show then. They showed several episodes of Pokémon Generations. A couple of them they did show twice. I guess they like I said, they started the event about 15 minutes before. I'm sorry, about 30 minutes before the show started. They started the pre-show. They showed several Pokemon Generations episodes, 3 in particular, 2 of which they showed twice. In case you're curious which ones it were, which ones it was, in case you want to see them, I could leave a link below, because I'm pretty certain they're all still on YouTube. But it was the Looker episode, it was the Ash and Pikachu episode, and it was the, I guess you would say, the Blue episode where it shows Blue going through the Pokemon League, or if you prefer to call him Gary going through the Pokemon League. But yeah, it was those 3 episodes, 2 of which were shown twice. And they also showed twice the Pokemon I Choose You music video, which I think has been recently posted on either the official Pokemon channel or the official Nintendo channel. I can't remember where, but I do remember seeing it. But it had 2 verses to it, and it had an ending. And I don't remember seeing a second verse in any of the versions I saw on YouTube. But there was a second verse to it that I had never heard before. So that was a nice treat to hear a second verse. It was a full great song. Don't get me wrong, but it was nice to see it. Most of that stuff you can probably already catch on YouTube on the official Pokemon channel. But let me tell you something. Can I just say this right now? You couldn't. For me, it set a great mood. I felt like it set a mood for us. It set a tone that this showing was for the people that really remembered Pokemon for a long time, and plus they did show little animated things, little CGI animated bits with the Gen 7 starters, basically just messing around. Like they showed, my favorite was Litten. My favorite was seeing Litten not being amused when Populo was, I think I'm pronouncing Populo right, was blowing bubbles and stuff like that. And Howlet, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, was the grass owl was spitting out grass and stuff like that. And those were kind of cute. Those were kind of cute to set. And so that was great. That I thought was great. And so they'd show those occasionally between the shorts. Yeah. So that to me set the mood right. What did you think of them?
Yeah, I do think the pre-show set the mood right as far as getting you into the mood for watching a Pokemon movie. I just had a problem once we got to the movie.
All right, so I guess now we're going to be talking about the movie, and we're just going to say this right now before you start with your review.
Spoiler free.
Spoiler free. This is a reboot. There, we said it. I'm just going to tell the audience right now. This has no continuity with the Pokemon animated feature films up to this point, or the Pokemon television series. That, I think, was your... How did you feel about that?
So, can we talk about spoilers now?
No. Not yet.
So, personally, I didn't like it. As someone who grew up watching the television show, waking up at 7 a.m. to watch it.
Or coming back home at 3 o'clock.
Well, some of us woke up at 7 a.m. For me, it didn't seem, it didn't draw me in as an older viewer. Like, it kind of seemed like we're going to get rid of the things that you remember from the original series and replace them, basically. I guess that's the most spoiler-free way I can say
Well, we can
that.
say, I'm going to say something which I think I know you want to say, which is going to be spoiler-free. Brock and Misty do not make an appearance. They are not in this.
They don't.
That's not a spoiler. I'm pretty certain people knew about that originally. They're not in the trailers or anything like that. They only make a little, isn't.
Technically they do, but they don't.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, I guess I can say that I looked at the film differently than I think you did. I looked at the film as its own contained story. Mm-hmm. And for somebody who has not seen the Pokemon animated series, has not, even if you've grown up with it, but you haven't seen those episodes or anything like that, I think this was good for first timers, basically.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was wrong for first timers.
Exactly. And so I kind of looked at it like the pre-show kind of set the scene for the older generation that will have grown up with this, but the film itself is clear it's for the new generation of Pokemon people, of Pokemon players. And again, I'm fine with that personally. I know you were not as fun because you wanted to see Brock and Misty back. You wanted to see everything. If you were going to, and I know I'm going to say this right now, you do see scenes. Without going to spoilers, you are going to see scenes that people that have watched the first seasons of Pokemon the animated series are going to be familiar with. You're going to see story beats that you're familiar with, but they're going to play out differently. Not in every case, but in a lot of cases, they do play out differently. I can think of exactly 3 episodes, specifically from the animated series, that played out either shorter, in the more abridged form, played out differently, and I was okay with that. I was okay with how they were depicted, but I could see how that might turn off people.
All right. So now can we get into the spoilers?
Stop the video right now if you don't want to see spoilers. This is your last warning in 3, 2, 1.
Spoilers. Okay, so they pretty much retconned the first season of the animated series. They retconned the whole Hoenn. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Jodo.
Ho-Ho.
Ho.
Yeah, they pretty much retcon that whole interaction between Ho-Ho meeting Ash for the first time, kind of thing.
Well, they expanded on it.
They did, but I mean, it's been years since I've seen the original anime, but I don't remember Ash ever getting any of Ho-Ho's feathers.
No, that was specific for the movie. Yes, that was specific for the movie. In the original episode, all you see is Ash catches the Ho-Ho, basically just flying past him. I think there might be a rainbow. I can't remember. There's a rainbow in the film, but I'm pretty certain I remember a rainbow in the episode. And that's it. It never appears again.
Because I remember in the show, I think he takes out his Pokédex, and it says that if you see a Ho-Ho,
Ash never gets a Pokédex. Ash never gets a Pokédex in the movie.
Yep, there's no Pokédex in this movie, so...
Everybody uses smartphones. Or maybe that's why. Maybe it's like, they kind of fast forward the timeline.
I don't know how... I mean,
smartphones are in this. I mean, they did. I did like that they kept some of the technology because I always loved the video conferencing that you could do from the Pokemon centers. That's still around.
That was in the original series. I mean, so you could argue that the original series was ahead of its time.
It was.
Now we have FaceTime and
Skype.
else.
I mean, I'm sure people will see that. Oh, he's Skyping his mom and stuff like that. Well, guess what? That's not retcon. That was in the original series too.
Well, no, I'm not saying that was retcon. What I'm saying was retcon was the Ho-Ho scene. The fact that all the scenes where he would have met Brock and Misty were changed into...
Were either there was nobody there or somebody else was there.
Yeah, they were changed into somebody else.
There were Pokemon that were added that they did include Generations 2, 3, 4, 5, in fact, I think maybe even 6. Yeah, Generation 6 Pokemon. I didn't see any Generation 7 Pokemon, but I wasn't looking that hard for them. But they did include all the generations up until about Generation 6, so there are Pokemon that Ash comes across that you would not have seen because they hadn't been invented yet. So I don't know how I felt about that. I didn't like that at first, I'll be honest with you. But to me, that was just a minor nitpick as opposed to something that was game-breaking.
I mean, the other thing that kind of nitpicked me is the antagonist of the story. Because Gary Oak is not in this movie.
No, there's no appearance. Or if you prefer to call him Blue, or for my Japanese viewers, he's Green. But yes, Gary Oak does not appear.
Yeah, he's not in it at all. He's not in the end credits or anything. They don't mention him. Professor Oak doesn't mention him.
He doesn't mention his grandson.
There's no mention of Gary. None. They retcon how Ash meets Charmander. I mean, it's still the same basic scene. He's found in the rain and he's...
had been abandoned by his trainer.
But the trainer was made into the antagonist of the movie instead of...
And he didn't even look like the original version of... they had retconned the appearance of Charmander's original owner. But basically, you're right. In this movie, it's Charmander's owner, or former owner, his abandoner, whatever you want to call him, who is in this movie called Cross. So we'll call him Cross from now on.
So he's kind of the main antagonist.
But he doesn't look like he did in the original series, because I remember the Charmander's abandoner had blue hair. And it's like that was a problem that most people had with Ash, his hair is blue! Kill him!
And
little something for my Pokemon Bridge fans out there.
And I mean, the other thing is too, they had Team Rocket in there, but like you mentioned when we were driving home, it was just
they were just there for some slapstick moments. They didn't really affect the story.
They didn't. I think if you're a new viewer, you're not gonna know who Team Rocket is, and you're just gonna think, oh, they're just
Keystone Cops. We call those in film. We call them the Keystone Cops. But to me, I was okay with that. I was happy to see him, let's be honest. But can I be honest, they do have cameos in some of the later Pokemon movies. I think like the one with Mewtwo versus Genesect. They just kind of appear in the background every once in a while. They don't really impact the story.
My problem with it is if you're rebooting or retconning things for a new audience, the first antagonists of the original series were Team Rocket. So
you think they should have been
I think they should have been a bigger part. I mean, their whole thing with trying to capture Ho-Ho went nowhere. nowhere. They get as far as going up the mountain. Again, this is the spoiler version if you
We're still on
skipped ahead.
spoilers. We're still on spoilers.
Yeah, they go up the mountain and they fall down the mountain. They don't even get anywhere near Ho-Ho.
They get 3 blast-offs. 3.
Which, you know, in the original anime, it made sense because it was like at the end of the episode, they got blasted off. They didn't get Pikachu. But in this, it just seemed like they were doing it as like, oh, this is fan service. This is what they did in the original show. Woo! And
I was a little less cynical about that. I just wanted you to know, like I said, I would consider that, you know, something. I would, but again, minor. Like, I can understand how somebody would have a bigger problem with it, but to me, that was like a minor nitpick, if you will. But I get it if you have a problem with that.
I do think that storyline should have been developed more. Like, if they're gonna go after Ho-Oh, instead of having the Cross Kid take the feather away from Ash, have one of the Team Rocket members take it away and go, oh, what's this? You know, what's this feather do? Or something.
You mean like Jesse could have done it?
Like Jesse or James, or
Yeah.
have Meowth grab it. Like, something.
That would have been funny. That would have been pretty
like,
funny.
Make them a little bit more relevant instead of putting a random trainer in there just to be antagonist A, I guess I'll call it.
If I may say something about the depiction of Jesse, James, and Meowth in this thing, it was clear they don't have the original voice actors. They definitely did not. So anytime Jesse, James, and Meowth opened their mouth, it was a distraction to me because I'm listening to them talk, and they don't sound like they're voice actors. And that to me, I'm kind of glad they didn't talk as much as they did, because again, anytime they talked, I'm like, where's the original?
Well,
why Meowth doesn't sound like that? So
I didn't do a lot of research about this movie before we went to see it.
there wasn't really
but-
much shown. There were like 2 trailers. That was
But
about it.
I do almost wonder, with you bringing up that voicing, if that's the reason why Brock and Misty weren't in this movie, is because they couldn't get the original voice actors or something like that.
Yeah.
Which could be possible.
I mean, I know in a lot of cases they did try to get original voice actors, or at the very least, if they didn't, there were some of the cast members that did a damn good impersonation. The narrator sounded original. I'm pretty certain Professor Oak sounded original or close enough. Ash's mom sounded close enough, if not original. I don't think that is Veronica Taylor. It might be Veronica Taylor. In fact, since we're talking about voice acting, there's something else I want to mention. But again, if it isn't Veronica Taylor, it sounded like a damn good impersonation of Veronica Taylor. So fine there. But yeah, obviously Brock wasn't cast and Misty wasn't in the movie, so they didn't have to get their voice actors, which explains a lot because Misty and Jesse's voice actress were the same, if I remember correctly. So it was clear that this was not a case. Now, for those of you who are going to say, well, if I watch the original Japanese version, I'm going to have less of an issue with that. That's something I wanted to bring up right now, and I want to make this clear because I felt like this was important to bring up. There was no option given to anybody that wanted to see this film in the theaters at this time through this event. There was no subtitled option on both showings. I know that Fathom Events is really good sometimes when they're showing imported films to do a subbed version and a dubbed version, and we're not going to get into that whole debate right then and there, but it's usually nice when they try to do both. In this case, both versions that were shown, the one on Sunday and the one on Monday, were dubbed. There was no subtitled option for the original Japanese voice actors. So I want to make that clear. I'm sure people that saw it in the original Japanese would probably would have less of a problem.
And I think the thing most of all that bugs me, other than the retconning, is the fact that they made Pikachu speak English.
Major spoiler.
Hey, we're in the spoilers.
That's the big spoiler right there. Okay, we're going to say that right now. You hear Pikachu.
They break I guess it's not really a fourth wall, but they do break the wall of, like, you know how the Pokemon always usually just say their name.
With the exception of the Pokemon Island episode where they're all subtitled.
Or Lucario, I think, is one of the few exceptions. But even then, usually they just say their name. And there's a brief moment where they break that, and I guess it's supposed to be from Ash's point of view.
Ash has kind of lost something, or...
It's the only way that can make sense is if it's from Ash's point of view.
It seemed like it was from Ash's point of view. Ash heard Pikachu speak.
Where Pikachu said something like, I want to be with you, you know, kind of thing. I want to stay with you. Like,
The people sitting behind us thought that was pretty cliche. They thought that moment was cliche.
But at the same time, it's one of those things, as somebody who watched the original show and knows how the Pokemon are supposed to talk, they never spoke English. They they just said Pikachu or you know, Jigglypuff. Like they didn't say, "Hi, how you doing? My name's Bob." Like,
Okay, again, to me, I that's less of a nitpick again because I've seen that scene did bother me. I'll be honest with you. Again, it wasn't a break though. Can I? It wasn't. But it was, if there was a problem that I had with it, it was that it did come off as a big cliche. But then again, I've seen cliches in Pokemon films, even Pokemon the first movie. Let's be honest, that tear scene in Pokemon the first movie is beyond cliche. I remember as a teenager when I first saw that, I'm like, I turned the film off. I thought it was stupid, and I stopped playing Pokemon for like 15 years after that.
yeah, but I'd rather take that scene over Pikachu speaking.
Again, I don't know how I would feel about that.
And
I think that...
And maybe, again, because I was younger than you when I saw that movie, I had a different impact with that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I personally, Pikachu speaking took me out of the rest of that movie.
Well,
it took me out of the rest of that
there
movie.
was one other thing that happened that was, I think, a bit cliche, although now that I'm thinking about it, I can't remember what it was. It's like... Continue, sorry.
I mean, you know, I really did want to go into this liking it, and I mean, overall, the feelings I had as I was watching it were fine. But it just, I couldn't get over the fact that a lot of things were retconned from the original series. The big thing I couldn't get over was Pikachu speaking. Because, yeah, I mean, there's been jokes made on Robot Chicken that if they ever spoke anything other than their name, it would be like
Vulgarities?
Vulgarity. Well, not vulgarities, but it would be like high treason.
Oh, we all know Cubert's swearing. That's like one thing. Let's be honest. A couple of comments about the animation. The animation was incredible. I have to say that it was on par or beyond what I've normally seen for some of the more recent Pokemon featured films. This was like widescreen, high definition, 4K we were watching it in, and it looked amazing, like absolutely amazing. I want to say right now that I probably won't see this movie. I couldn't bring myself to see the movie on DVD because I've actually been mad at the people that have been distributing the more recent Pokemon animated films, or animated movies, I should say. Yeah, animated films. Because when I watch them for the first time, I usually watch them on a TV broadcast, which is in high definition 1080p, and they always cheap out on the releases by doing DVD only. And so, to me personally, I could only watch this film on Blu-ray or better. I'm just going to say that right now. So, I honestly like to see whoever's distributing the more recent Pokemon films to release Blu-ray versions. In fact, actually, they said that they're actually going to re-release, and this was a sponsor of the film for tonight, the first 52 episodes, the first season. I just bought the damn DVD version, so now I'm kicking myself for that. But of the Pokemon animated series is coming to Blu-ray, so I'm really excited about that. I'd like to see all the Pokemon content they can get, especially the later Pokemon films, including this one, on Blu-ray, because it looked phenomenal, and I know that if they do a DVD release of this, it will look not as good.
All right, going back to the animation for a second. Yes, the animation in this movie was beautiful. But again, it kind of ties into the whole retconning thing, because in the credits, they redid a part of the opening title from the original show.
They redid some takes and some shots, yes.
To me, it made me wonder... I mean, again, it could be because they couldn't get the voice actors, but it made me wonder why Brock and Misty weren't in it, if they could recreate certain parts of the original... Redraw certain parts of the series. I don't know if it's because if they're rebooting maybe the anime just based on this movie. I don't know.
I don't think they are.
I don't think they are either, but if they were, that would explain why they gave Ash 2 new companions. Which, I mean, but then it doesn't make sense that they show the rest of the companions in the credits.
Well, I think I know the answer to that question. At the end of the film, while the credits are rolling, they do show what happened to some of the newer companions. They left one dangling thread that I didn't like. They never explained what was happening with the female trainer companion and her mom. That's never resolved in the film. And I didn't like that. But they did show what the other was doing.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
You know?
Exactly, and even our Amazon doesn't know what's going on there either.
I mean, for that one, yeah. Now that I think about it, that was definitely a loose thread. They should have, like, they explained why the other companion, like, had, and it's not even like he really showed he had an aversion to trusting Pokemon, but it was like, oh well, I didn't trust another Pokemon because this happened to a Pokemon we had.
They went dark there.
It was
when they showed
dark.
the male companion's backstory. That was dark. That was darker than I thought they'd go. But thank goodness they kept it.
Well, it was weird. Like, they went over the top dark for him.
Yeah.
For her, it was more implied. Like, she's just looking at pictures on her phone at one point,
and we see a woman, and we don't know who she is.
And we see a woman, and we all have to assume, because you could see the girl's Pokemon in the picture, that has to be her mom.
I didn't make that inference. I thought it might have been a sister or something
No.
that would have been sick or something.
I mean, part of me thought maybe it was the sister, but when she said, oh, I haven't spoken to my mom since I went on
it was
this
clear it
journey,
was the mom, yeah.
Then it was like, okay, well, that must have been a picture of the mother.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, that and the other Pokemon who was in the picture looked like an older version of the girl's Pokemon. I could be wrong on that one, but almost like that was the mother's Pokemon.
Mm.
And when she said, my mom's a famous trainer.
Actually, I think yes, you're right. That if she had the penguin, that was the evolved version of the penguin, yeah.
Yeah, so,
like
I mean,
like.
they never really, again, that was another plot thread that they didn't really press upon, like they didn't even really set up for the fact that the other kid had an aversion to Pokemon, really. They just said, oh, I'm training to be a Pokemon professor, like Professor Oak.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay.
Well, he didn't have a version of Pokemon. He just was
like,
tough getting close to him, basically. But he got over it before the movie even started.
But it seemed like he trusts humans less than he trusted Pokemon.
Mm.
So, I mean, if you're going to go the route of, I couldn't trust Pokemon again or whatever because...
I couldn't get close to him. There's a difference.
I couldn't get close to... I say trust, but I mean close. Couldn't get close to Pokemon again because we lost this Pokemon, blah, 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 blah. Then, I don't know, make it a little bit more prevalent in his character than just showing his backstory.
Well, the movie is only 90 minutes long, so they had to cut stuff out.
I know, but I'm just saying, if you're going to do that for one, either do it for both of them or don't do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it just seemed a little weird and a little lopsided.
The film is Ash's story, and by your take, I could probably understand this. I think most people probably would have preferred that Ash just do the movie by himself. It would be Ash and Pikachu all the way through, basically.
Well,
why bring in the companions if he didn't need them?
To be honest, at one point when you told me the title of this movie, I thought it was actually going to be about the journey that Ash and Pikachu had, which when the first couple minutes started and it was basically the beginning of the original series of the two of them meeting each other, it was like, okay, so then where are we going? Is it just their adventures before they meet Brock and Misty, or what are we doing here? I don't know.
Okay. There's something I didn't get a chance to mention before when you mentioned that it does show all of the former companions at the end during the credits. I know why they did that, or at least I had, but you kind of cut me off before I could say that. There was this, how do I put this? This is the 20th anniversary film. And I knew that this was the 20th anniversary film. This is an homage. This film was made as an homage to basically what had come before it, to the origins of the series and the franchise. And because of that, don't give me that face.
Now that you say that, that makes the reboot and retconning even worse, in my opinion. Because if you're going to pay homage to 20 years of Pokemon, yes, I'm banging my rings.
But would you have wanted to see the exact same thing all over again, basically?
I wouldn't have cared. And I think if you're someone who's new to the series, you know, and you're with someone who's known the series, you could explain to them, that's Misty, that's Brock, that, you know. Okay,
well, then this sounds like this would make you happy. What if, let's say, for example, we don't know what's happening with another film, but there's probably going to be another film. If they wanted to do a 20th anniversary better, they didn't have to reboot it, I don't think. What they could have done was, they could have told a new story. And this is what I thought the movie was going to be. Let me be honest with you. This is what I thought the movie was going to be. I thought the story of Ash and Pikachu was going to be told in flashbacks or something along those lines. And I thought that maybe this was going to be like, you could make this movie. And Pikachu Project or the Pokemon Company, if you're watching this, I know you are. Satoshi Tajiri, if you're watching this, I love you. Let me tell you exactly what, if you want to make the next film, if you want to be tell this story. You want to tell the story that you want to say that you would be okay with, that I would be okay with. Here it is. Have Ash bring the band back together. Have Ash as an adult now. Tell the story of Ash as an adult. Tell the story of Ash as an adult. He remembers Ho-Oh. He flashes back to when he first met Pikachu, and he's like, yeah, that's something that I don't. That's something I remember seeing Ho-Oh, but I don't remember if I ever followed up. I don't remember if I ever saw that again. So what if he, as an adult, tries to seek out, get back Brock, get back Misty? Maybe they're still in Cerulean Gym in Pewter City or something like that. Maybe that's where he'll find them again. And then it'll be like, we're getting the band back together. We're going to finally go after Ho-Oh. And then all the things that he had learned, you could flash back to all those great moments that you remember throughout the whole 2 decades of growth that these characters have had together. Finally give a scene of Poke Shippers where they want, where Ash kissed Misty or something like that, and make this imply that this is at the end of the Pokemon timeline, this is the big finale or something, and then that, I think, would have made you happy. Would that have made you happy?
It would have made me happy, but to be honest, I think other people will agree with me. That movie will never happen because they will never let Ash grow up. And that's, I know I'm being harsh, but one of the other reasons that the whole
Well, you could tell that story where Ash is still a kid, basically.
Yeah, one of the other reasons...
But you had to bring back Brock and Misty.
Hold on. One of the other reasons that the Ho-Ho thing from the show was such a thing, and I think that's the reason maybe why they made it a plot point now, is because there's a big conspiracy theory kind of thing online saying that the whole reason Ash is still 10 in all these seasons is because when he met Ho-Ho and he made his wish, he wished to be like either 10 years old for the rest of his life or something of the equivalent. So that's why he doesn't age.
I don't think that was his wish. I honestly don't think that was his wish.
It's probably not, but that's what the conspiracy theory is.
To me, I felt that his wish was Pikachu and I will always be friends. That's what I think his wish was.
And maybe that was it. But I don't feel like they would ever make it a movie where he's an adult, because there's other, I guess another anime where they take the pivotal character out, I could think of is Yu-Gi-Oh!
I haven't seen those.
I forget, I think GX was the first, I could be wrong, GX I think was the first season of that show where Yugi stepped down as the main character, and you only saw him for like maybe 5 minutes of the first episode, and he was just giving someone else his like most popular cards, and then you never see him again. And or as far as I know, because I really didn't watch much of that season, and I don't think a lot of other people did either, because your pivotal character's gone and now you're following this new guy. And for God's sakes, the abridged series for Yu-Gi-Oh! Makes fun of GX. Like, it's the GT of Yu-Gi-Oh!
No comments. Okay, keep the comments civil in the comment section below, please.
Sorry, but it's true. So I feel like in that respect, although that would have been a better way to make the 20th anniversary, I don't think they'll ever let Ash grow up. I don't think they'll ever let him truly grow up because of that fear that if they gave someone else the main character, that the fans wouldn't like it, they would want Ash back, and the whole mess. So
well, there have been new protagonists, and this was an issue. I had that issue by the time Generation 2 first came out back, and I think it was 2000, 2001 or so, if I remember. I can't remember when Gold and Silver came out, but around that time. I remember thinking to myself, because I had been watching the animated series still, I think at that point they were at least in the Orange Islands, that I had a problem with there being a new protagonist where this Gold guy was. It's like, who is this Gold? Who I think he's called Ethan or whatever you want to call him. But I'm like, who is this guy and why are you playing as him? Where's Ash? And the people that were playing Gold and Silver at the time were telling me, it's like, well, Ash is now a final boss. You're playing as someone new. And I'm like, I can't. As you would say now, I can't even. So that to me, I got over it. So I was okay with the film tonight. I really was. I was okay with the film tonight. I thought it was to me, those references, seeing Butterfree being sent away again, and seeing Charmander, bonding again, and seeing Charmander evolve and things like that. Again, those were retcons, but to me, those felt like homages. Those felt like homages. And again, we still have the original episodes. They're getting re-released to Blu-ray. You can still watch them on on Disney XD on demand. So they're always going to be there for us to watch and enjoy.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that.
I would have liked if they had kept this in continuity, where if they had told the story that I described. But for what the film was, I still enjoyed it. There was nothing in there that I saw that felt sacrilege or a violation of the Pokemon rules.
I mean,
and that to me would have been a problem if they had gone to extremes for either visual effects, if they had cut into the heart of Pokemon, then I would have had a problem with this reboot. But since they didn't,
if they used CGI.
Well, there might have been some CG effects or anything like that.
If there was, I didn't notice it. But if they were overly blatant with the
or
CGI,
if they had done it in 3D animation as opposed to 2D animation, yeah, okay, I get that. So those are just our thoughts about it. I mean, if you have your own thoughts, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Again, below, keep a comment below. And maybe we're going to do more movie reviews in the future. I have a couple of videos that I have planned for the future that I have planned out. We'll see where we do with those. Until next time, guys, my name is Maniac.
Princess Angel.
Take care. Hope you enjoyed it. Please post a comment. Take care. Visit our website, gameaccess.net. Take care. Over and out.